जय राम जय जय राम श्री 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 राम जय जय राम अखण्डमण्डलाकारम् Why are you all so sad? अखण्डमण्डलाकारम् व्याप्तं येन चराचरम् तत्पदं दर्शितं येन तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः गुरुब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुरेव परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः In a particular occasion, Pujya Gurudev Swami Chinmayananda Ji had asked Pujya Swamiji, that is Swami Dayananda Saraswati Ji, to select some prayer verses at the beginning of probably, I think, it was a course in Sandipani. So Pujya Swamiji said he selected these verses from Guru Gita, the text called Guru Gita, and then he put this tune to it. And then these set of verses, Guru Gita was already known everywhere, but these set of verses, the Pujya Swamiji selected and put this tune, and this tune became like the standard tune. Everywhere you will see Akhanda Mandalakaram being sung in this particular tune. As many of you or most of you might know, Pujya Swamiji was a great musician as well. He's composed number of kritis or kirtans in Sanskrit, and one of the most popular compositions of Pujya Swamiji is Bho Shambho. So that became like a Carnatic music anthem. So every concert used to end with Bho Shambho. It had become a standard piece. And even now, today, Bharatanatyam, that becomes a piece for which people dance. And even the Nadaswara, the mela that you see in marriages, South Indian marriages, this is a tune that they constantly play in various occasions. Can anyone please get me the questions? If we can have the cordless mic as well, if anybody wants to ask questions here, somebody can collect from Sardev. Yeah. We'll see a few questions. Why a baby is born with physical or mental disability when both the parents are healthy and also clean of drugs and alcohol and smoking? Is it any genetic cause? Yes, today genetics explains a lot of things, but how do we look at it from the Sanatana Dharma point of view is that everything, every jiva comes into this earth taking a body, particular body, due to the karmas. So how do you explain so much of differences between individuals? Somebody is healthy, somebody is unhealthy, somebody is born with certain conditions, somebody is born with a disease or a particular physical deformity, various things. How do you account for or explain all of it? We take the standpoint of karma. Each and every jiva, based on its karma, takes a particular body. And what is there or what is not there in that body is left to one's own karma. That jiva's karma. That's how we take it. Otherwise, a just born individual has not even performed any actions for it to suffer or undergo some pain or difficulties. But how do you explain? Because of the previous birth and the karmas. That's how we say we can accept or rather understand the various differences in the creation. Now your question may come, still doesn't seem to be right. Somewhere doesn't fit in. Yes, that thought is a compassionate heart will always have that question. No doubt that question would be there. But then if you really think in life, how do you accept? How do you accept life as it presents before you? The karma is the best explanation available. That model helps you accept. Otherwise, one will constantly be in pain or frustration or non-acceptance of what is around. So karma gives you that ability to accept, whether this or any situations in life. Ultimately, like I said, Vishesha causes you examine what could be the reason around. Yes, fine, science may trace it to one particular gene. Fine, do you find solace just because science has explained why this particular child is born in this particular way, and then a scientist can locate a particular gene or set of genes? So does it really bring solace to your life? Fine, there is an explanation, but then how do you accept, make sense of the world around you? So Sanatana Dharma has the support of karma. So that's the way you can go about accepting the world around you, your own body, bodies connected to this body, the family situation, birth, all of it can be looked from the standpoint of karma. Thus you gain the ability to accept. Does Shani Katha affect only Indians? Yes. Or even Western world. Yes, Shani Katha affects only Indians because Shani, the Saturn, is not known to any other religions. They don't look upon Shani Dasha, Shani, whatever it is, I don't know. But all of it. The beautiful planet Saturn, it has ring, hula hoop. Instead of appreciating a beautiful planet, you make it even planets as source of your sorrow. Your sorrow. Probably if you look at it from the psychology paradigm, what does psychology paradigm do? I'm undergoing something. I'm undergoing shit in life. So what does the psychology model comes? It comes to explain, it shifts the blame. It's not you, it's your mother. It's not you, it's your childhood. It's not you, it is father. Fine, you shifted the blame, then that has to be resolved. Otherwise, whole life you will spend blaming your parents. And that too, what if that person leaves the therapy halfway? That blame is sitting in the mind forever. So you don't want such a situation. Probably in that paradigm, I am going through so much difficulty. What could be the cause? Look up and it's Saturn. So you shift the blame. Probably if you're using astrology like that, fine. Otherwise, Shani Katha affects only Indians, not the Western world. Is there really heavenly or hell? Or is it made... okay, is there really hell and heaven, or is it made up to maintain law and order? See, the Sanatana Dharma, the Puranas, do present heaven, hell. I mean, these are, we are borrowing English terminologies. Swarga, Naraka. Not just Swarga, Naraka, it presents in fact 7 up, 7 down. So lokas, different realms of experiences. But then, Swarga, Naraka model probably works for a 2-year-old child. You're telling the child is not eating food, so the mother or father mixes up some food and is feeding the child and says, the mother or father is saying, you must eat, you must not throw food. If you throw food, you'll go to hell. If you eat food, you'll go to heaven. This, that, you can make up some story and convince a 2-year-old child. But as a person is growing, as the person is aging, then this story doesn't really fit in. But a lot of adults still maintain these categories. But how do you approach as a Vedantin, as a spiritual seeker, as a person interested in moksha? Heaven and hell are not elsewhere, they are here. There are our own states of mind, if you want to say. You can create hell and heaven in your own homes. You don't have to wait to die and go to heaven or hell. Now, I vividly remember my mother and her friends in my childhood had presented a play. So what was that play about? The play was about hell and heaven. A lady dies and she goes up to hell. So the play was something like this, if I can remember everything. So she goes to hell, the lady goes to hell, and they ask, okay, what is there in the hell? They say, hot oil will be poured on you. Arey, I pay and get hot oil poured on me. What is the big deal? She says. Then they say, your hairs will be ripped apart. Arey, I pay and get that done. Then they say, then you will be put in steam room. That I pay and get it done. So what's the big deal about hell? Then the heaven. So what is there in the heaven? Though there will be unlimited food. Arey, Las Vegas you go. Unlimited meal. There will be dance and dramas. Arey, you go to Las Vegas. All the shows are there. So these descriptions of hell and heaven for a thinking, intelligent person is no big deal. What's the big deal? What is the big deal? Eternal suffering, eternal pleasure. Who doesn't know it? Who doesn't know it? So no big deal. In fact, there's another paradigm. Every religion conceives heaven and hell. You go to Abrahamic religions, Abrahamic faiths, Judaism, Christianity, Islam, etc. They also have their conception of hell and heaven. So in the religious studies, I did engage with comparative religious study during my time at Harvard. So I was looking into the conceptions of hell and heaven across religions. So the desert religions, the religions which had their origin in the desert area, their heaven will always be green. Their heavens will have fruits, because in desert you don't get green and fruit. Very interesting. And the tropical religion heaven is a very different conceptualization there. So they are not talking about fruits and vegetables and water available there. So every religion conceives hell and heaven, and it varies. But a person who examines these concepts break down. And also, you have a very interesting question. Is it made up to maintain law and order? Fine, you may think like that. Okay, so I'm going to be good so that I have an entry into heaven. That kind of an ethics, or that kind of an ethical framework is very silly, isn't it? Intrinsically, I am bad. I want to do bad things. But because I want to go to heaven, I'll control myself. It's a very stupid way of conceiving ethics. That's not Hindu conception of ethics. What is Hindu conception of ethics based on? Hindu conception of ethics is based on anubhava, one's own personal experience. Do not do something done to others that you don't want it to be done to you. Ahimsa. So what is the basis? Anubhava. You don't want to be hurt, so do not hurt others. You don't want your money to be stolen. Anubhava. You don't want it, so don't do the same to others. You don't want to be killed, thus preserve every life form. Put effort there. So that's how the Hindu conception of ethics are there. Ethics, in fact, the Hindu conception of ethics is not God dropping ethics book from the sky and putting 10 do's and don'ts, 20 do's and don'ts. No, it's not that. It's very deep. The conception is very deep. So that's how it goes when it comes to preserving law and order. But also, a human mind, a human life, if you look at your own life, if you look at society, if you look at life, everything is running because of a grand narrative that the person holds. Every person holds a narrative about life in his or her mind. A story, a powerful story is held, And that is the motivation for that person to live in a particular way. So the story, this narrative of heaven and hell governs a lot of people. Even though a Hindu's ethics is not really based on heaven and hell, but still those concepts are very, very ingrained, because also Vedas talk about Swarga, Swargaloka, etc. Thus, it's very deeply ingrained. So the actions, people you may have seen, your relatives or cousins or grandmothers, this is always prayers, all of it is oriented in order to go to heaven. So I do a lot of chanting, I do a lot of puja, I will do pilgrimage. All of it for what? So that I go to Swargaloka. So that's a conception. Probably it helps them in their religious life. Nothing wrong, but doesn't really fit in once you inquire. And the same Shastra which presents heaven and hell, they are not permanent entities. You don't have permanent stay there. So it's like visa. You have 5 years, 10 years. So you go to heaven. Kshine punye martya lokam vishanti. So you, because of punya, you go to the heaven. For everything you have to spend heavenly currency, which is punya. So you watch a dance, 10 kg punya is gone. You drink alcohol there, 10 kg punya is gone. So all the punya gets exhausted. One day you fall down back to the earth. So that's the same Shastra presents you this model that there's no big deal going to heaven and falling down. So that way we have to examine these concepts and see where it stands. So for a Vedantin, Swarga and Naraka, heaven and hell, are not outside. They're not located elsewhere. They're here. You create your own hell, or you create your own heaven. In fact, this is coming from Amrita Bindu Upanishad. Mana eva manushyanam karanam bandhamokshayoho. Your own mind is the cause for your bondage, your complications, which is hell. Your own mind is responsible for your freedom, innate freedom. Isn't freedom a heavenly thing? So you can create your own hell and heaven here and now. So that is Swarga and Naraka. Any more clarifications about Swarga and Naraka? So once in Bangalore I was giving a Satsang. So they asked a question about heaven and hell to me. So how do you go? What is the path? In the Upanishad or in the Shastra, Vedas, it is mentioned, how do you go? I said, please excuse me, I'm an expert of life, not afterlife. Not my area of expertise. In fact, one who talks about heaven and hell has never gone there. And one who has gone there has never come back to say what it is. So leave it alone. Yeah. Can you kindly explain what happens to the Atma of a person after their heart stops beating? Atma, the self, which is existence, consciousness, happiness, Sat, Chit, Ananda, or Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam, is permanent. It's unchanging principle. Atma is that which is the basis of everything, that permanent entity. Nothing happens to Atma when heart stops beating or brain stops working or the circulatory system is shut down. Nothing happens to the Atma. Whatever happens, happens to Deha, to the body. Nothing happens to the Atma. Atma is this constant. the screen upon which every phenomenon is operating. If I have to give you the analogy of movie and the screen, Atma is that screen, permanent, unaffected, no qualities whatsoever in it. But then, what is this whole Jagat which includes body, heartbeat, circulation, brain cells functioning? All of it is like the movie which is appearing on that screen. What happens to the screen when the movie ends? Can you tell me? Nothing happens to the screen. What happens to the screen when there is a scene in which fire is involved in the movie? Does the screen burn? Nothing happens to the screen. What happens when there is rain in the movie? Nothing happens. Nothing happens. Same is this eternal principle of Atma Chaitanya, one's own true nature. Birth and death is for the body. Birth and death is for the body. To the mind, not for the Atma. Not for the Atma. That permanent entity, principle, is Atma Chaitanya. We will discuss further in the text also. It will come invariably, it comes everywhere. That's what we are trying to understand. One's own true nature as Atma Chaitanya. Also, why sometimes you may wonder, why is it sometimes not so easy to appreciate this? Because of the body orientation. We have been trained, conditioned to take body as everything, sarvasva. This deha. Acharya in Shankaracharya in Sadhana Panchakam says, Deheham matirujyatam. May you give up the notion that this body is I. No, I am beyond the body. The body is a phenomenon, just like the movie which is appearing on the screen. But my true nature is a screen. I continue to be there in spite of the body and even in the absence of the body. Such is the glory of Atma Chaitanya. Yes, please, you have a question.
Hari Om Guruji. So when we call or when we say prarabdha or sanchita karma, so are those associated with Atma or body?
Jiva. That's associated with the jiva. We will discuss those concepts also. Okay, you for this purpose at this stage, without any discussion, if you want to say, yeah, they're associated with the body, not with the Atma. Prarabdha, sanchita, all of it. The karma, prarabdha karma is associated basically here. Okay, so further contextualization, prarabdha karma is associated with the body, not with Atma.
Okay.
Yeah.
And when Atma leaves that shariram, right? And then in second chapter of Gita, what we had seen, like no one can, nainam chindanti shastrani, like Atma, no one can kill the Atma. It is nashvar. So when that Atma goes from one shariram to another shariram, so that sanchita karma and prarabdha, that time it associated with the body or Atma, then does it go?
Here a clarity, further clarity is required. This is because we have been using the word Atma without much clarity, without having any clarity about it. So Atma is not something which goes from body to body after death, leaves the body, enters the body. So you see the conceptualization that way, where is it coming from? If you really very deeply look at it, an average person has not read all the texts to conceive this idea. How does this idea come in? Even a 10th grade child growing up in a Hindu environment may have this conception. Where is it coming from? It's coming from movies. So there is a death scene. then the the light leaves the body and then joins the Shiva or Narayana, something like that. So this is not coming from Shastra, it's coming from movies. So we have made movie as the pramana, basis for my understanding of Atma. Then I learn few more words, Prarabdha, Sanchita, Agami, and I just make a sandwich out of everything, khichdi, out of everything. So that doesn't work. So that's why study of Shastra in the Gurukulam, one of the first things one has to do is have clarity about all the words that we use. Atma, okay. You get to know what is the definition. In what way shall I understand it? Prarabdha, what does it exactly mean? Not so difficult. There is a text called Tattva Bodha, which discusses all the common terminologies that we use, concepts that we use in teaching of Vedanta. A very small text. So once you study the text, this understanding of Atma, Sukshma Sharira, Stula Sharira, which is Deha, all that we will have clarity. So what is associated with what? We will be very clear. So it is the Sukshma Sharira, the subtle body which leaves the physical body upon the death of the body, not the Atma. Not the Atma. So if there is time, we will discuss that. Since the question is asked, I want you to have further clarity. I'll try to discuss that in the class. Yes, please, there's a gentleman who wants.
Thank you. Swamiji, is that right way to address to you?
Yes.
Okay. My name is Vimal Goyal.
Hari Om.
My question is, Jai Shri Krishna. My question is totally different from what you've been talking about.
Anything.
It's totally different. Now, I have two questions, but I'll just ask you one today and maybe second one tomorrow. When I was listening to the lecture this morning, the lady said, happiness is right in front of you. Meaning you are the happiness. You create your own happiness.
Which, anybody of discussion? Swaminji's class, not lady, Swaminji.
Okay, I'm sorry. Swamiji, I'm sorry. Yeah, I just don't know exactly who to address to.
Swaminji, yes.
Swaminiji, there
Yes.
you go. And she was very intelligent. She said a lot of things, and I really got impressed with what she said. Now, here's my point. A lot of times I hear from people saying money doesn't bring you happiness. And I don't agree with that.
Okay.
And I'll give you an example why money brings you happiness. And then you tell me if I'm wrong.
Okay.
I think I'm probably wrong, but you are a learned person, so you can probably tell me more. Now, here's my argument. I understand money will not bring you happiness, but not having money brings you unhappiness.
Okay.
So what I mean is, if I don't have money, I don't have electricity, I don't have gas, I don't have a car, I don't have a house, I can't go anywhere, I can send my kids to school, I cannot eat enough if I have less money. So my thinking is, if I have money, I'm not saying $1 billion or $1 million, enough to bring me happiness. Is that wrong?
Okay. So did you finish your question?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Let me contextualize it for you. Now, when we say unhappiness, if you do not have money, what you will have is unhappiness. That's a very broad generalized statement. If you look at world around you, go travel, go mix with common folks, the happiness that they have is not dependent on money at all. That means to say that every poor person must be unhappy. No, that's not how world works. Please go, talk to people who do not have money. Talk to people who do not have money. They will not have gas, yes, correct. They may not have roof above their head. They may not have 3 square meals, yes. Their comforts, the basic necessities have to be improved, no doubt. The society has to help empower them to get basic human needs, to live a dignified life. All of it is fine, correct. But then, to say that if you do not have money, you cannot be happy, there's no happiness, no, that's not their experience. You go to the slums of India, unfortunately we still have it. You go to poorest of poor section in the society, they lack a lot of things. But if you go interact with them, listen to their stories, no, they do not lack happiness. They do have happiness. Happiness is innate. It's your nature. It comes out. So that way, having money or not having money is not related to happiness, unhappiness at all. In the world, as we live, as we understand, happiness and unhappiness are states of mind. States of mind. So one could be unhappy with everything around you. So that is not a logic that we want to use to again condemn money. Money is money. Money gives you buying power. You buy your necessities through money. No problem. Let it be in its place. We have nothing against it. Let it be there. But then we have to develop the ability to analyze, to look at happiness and unhappiness beyond money. Then you truly understand what it is. What we are talking about unhappiness is lack of comfort. No, that is not, you cannot correlate like that. So in that way, I would say money does not bring you happiness. Yes. Money can bring you happiness. No. I neither accept that statement. Why? Because it becomes a very small paradigm to look at happiness and unhappiness only through the factor of money. The phenomenon of happiness and unhappiness is beyond that. It's huge. It's big. It's psychological. It's deeper. And in Vedanta, we explore further what is happiness. What is happiness? So I ate a gulab jamun and I experienced something. Is that happiness? Is that happiness? You may say, yes, that's how it seems, but you analyze further. So the Vedanta gives you a definition for what is happiness. I will give you a definition. What is happiness? Happiness is that which is permanent. That which is permanent is happiness. Now you look at all your life experiences where you call something as happiness. Does it fit into this definition? Does it fit into this definition? No. All the things that you are calling as happiness, in fact, they're just fleeting pleasures. Now, with this background, I will just change the statements you made. Money can bring pleasure. That also conditions apply. Suppose, you see, this hypothetical situation. Suppose there is a person, his father has died. They have shared a very loving relationship, this father and son. So the father is dead now. So suppose somebody hands over $100,000 in his hand, the son's hand. Is son going to be happy? Can that money bring him happiness? Can that money bring him pleasure? No. So even if you make the statement, money can bring pleasure, conditions apply. Not when there is sorrow around. Not when there is something around. So in every lab experiments we do under standard temperature and pressure. This values work when under standard temperature and pressure. So similarly, money can bring pleasure. Even that kind of a statement works only in limited contexts. And what to talk about money bringing happiness? It's a far-fetched idea. Think about it. Very crux of Vedanta. Crux of Vedanta is here. That's why we said bhava sukhe dosho nusandhiyatam. Bhava is a world. Sukha means pleasures. May you develop ability to see the fallacy in worldly pleasures. See the statement? Acharya is not telling you, do not engage in worldly pleasures. That's not the instruction. What is the instruction given to you? That becomes suppression. Suppression doesn't take you anywhere. You carbon dioxide and water cannot easily mix. You put a lot of pressure. You put carbon dioxide into the water, make it a soda. Then you shake it up and open, it just bursts. That's what suppression does to you. So similarly, keep on looking at the fallacy in this, looking at pursuit of pleasure. There you will understand the way forward. Convinced or confused? The questioner. Think about it. Think about it, yeah. Yes, please. You have to switch on that mic, yeah.
Namaste ji.
Hari Om.
I'm Pranav. So continuing this topic, you said like happiness is permanent, and like in your life, when you asked us, like most of us, everyone told no. In your life, what would you say for you happiness was, like, to understand what happiness is?
Happiness, if you look at the general conception of happiness as a particular experience of pleasure, that's how one comes to understand happiness in a common parlance. That's how a common man's understanding is. Then for your question, the answer could have been, okay, that time where I was in a particular place, that time when I ate the best pasta, that time when I had the best dessert, that time when I was this thing. So then you associate with a particular experience. What is the nature of an experience? It is there, it starts, it has a starting point, and it has an ending point. And after that, at most, it may stay as memory, So when I say happiness is that which is permanent, it cannot be a particular experience, because experiences are constantly changing. In fact, you might have thought that this is the best song that I can hear, this is the best dish that I can ever eat, this is the best friend that I can ever have. In fact, few years later, you may come across a better person or a person who you place above this person in terms of friendship, a dish where you rate more than the previous dish, all of it. So thus, happiness wouldn't be something I cannot associate a particular experience with reference to happiness. So for me, if you ask, what is happiness then? Happiness is my own nature. Happiness is what I am. Happiness is my reality. Happiness is my swarupa, my true nature, which is permanent, which is Atma. And that's how I look upon happiness as. And that's what Shastra teaches. We will discuss that in the further classes. Yeah. Did I answer your question?
Yeah, like now I have like understanding of what you think it is, and like how I should have thought of.
Yeah, think in these lines. So I have given you a paradigm. Happiness is that which is permanent. That which is permanent. So you see, when you see everything that you have so far conceived as happiness is in fact fleeting. It's never there. It's temporary. You can never hold on to it. Never anchors you because it's fleeting so much. Yeah.
It's just in the memories.
There's a person behind you who wants to ask a question.
Swamiji, my question is regarding the difference between the doctrine of Advaita and Dvaita. Advaitins say that everything is Paramatma, you are Paramatma, I am Paramatma, everybody.
No, Dvaitins
Right? No?
don't say that.
No, Advaitins.
Advaitins,
Not Dvaitins.
yes. Yeah.
Dvaitins say Jivatma and Paramatma can never be same.
Yeah.
And they will never come together. So if what Advaitins say is absolutely true, then does it mean that the Dvaitins can never attain self-realization?
You see, Dvaita is what a common conception is. A common conception, you see yourself as separate from the person sitting next to you. You are different from your son or daughter, the spouse, all the objects around you, and then you extend the same to the conception of God, conception of Paramatma, all of it. That's what Dvaita is. Advaita is a deeper analysis of life, of all the conceptions, and it's not just an intellectual philosophy. That's why we call it self-realization. So what is that realization? What is that knowledge? What is that self-knowledge? It has the component of you. You inquire and you come to understand. Now, you may look upon, for the sake of argument, with this philosophy, that philosophy, Dvaita versus Advaita and this and that, but the way an Advaitin's journey goes is not just textual, is not just intellectual, it is something where the whole person is involved. Shruti, which is the texts, Yukti, which is the logic, and it also has another component, Anubhava, one's own perspective. Shruti, Yukti, Anubhava. So when you look upon the Advaita Vedanta, in this term, this vision becomes clear. Now, another part of your other question, do you mean to say Advaiti can never attain self-realization? Yes, from the Advaitin's perspective, we never say he or that person can never obtain self-realization. Yes, the person may be on a good path of Dvaita, fine. Probably in future, after few years, that person meets a guru, understands the vision, understands the Shastric perspective, and gains self-knowledge. So nobody is denied of self-realization. Every jiva, every person ultimately comes to understand in their own timelines. For some people it is few years, for few others it could be few janmas also. You never know. So that's how we take. Not condemning anybody.
Yes.
Everybody has a place. In Rishikesh, when I used to be there, the Mahatmas used to have a saying, Duniya to bada vistar hai, sabke liye jagah hai. So world is very vast. It has its place for every perspective. Now, our fight, there is no fight for all that matter. But the way we approach Advaita is only from my standpoint, from your standpoint. That's why we have a beautiful word, Adhyatma, spirituality, that which is concerned to oneself. So you're all here for Adhyatma Vidya, not Advaita Vidya really, Adhyatma Vidya. So what? Knowledge concerning yourself. So the best journey is where you're more and more focused on yourself. Keep entertaining every question, every perspective, every doubt from your standpoint, rather than hypothetically creating schools of thought or individuals from different perspective. It works much better when you internalize and think of everything from your standpoint. Yes, please.
A related question.
Yes.
You just said that Advaitins go very in depth into the self-analysis. Then does it mean that people, gurus like Madhvacharya, they did not go deep into this?
No. See, then you go holding on to every word that I say from a different
No, I'm trying
perspective.
to understand you. I'm trying to understand you.
Yeah. No. We don't. They're acharyas. That's why we say Madhvacharya, Ramanujacharya. The great acharyas, they have brought such depth and color to Sanatana Dharma.
Yes.
So we do not discount or just leave aside any particular acharya. So they all have their place. But then you have your own perspective also. They are great acharyas, no doubt. Fine. Now you choose, you inquire your life, and on what basis I am inquiring my life into, on the basis of the teachings of Adi Shankaracharya. So not pitting one acharya against another, nothing. I choose the teachings of Shankaracharya based on what? Shruti, Yukti, Anubhava. Experience, Shruti, Yukti. That's how you approach. There is no fight, there is no condemnation, there is no argumentation, nothing. It's all your path. What journey you want to undertake. So that's how we go, not by analyzing one acharya to another, one text to another, and then grading them, pitting against one another. That's all in the movies. That's not how the spiritual journey works. Did I clear your question?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Here.
Namaste, Swami. I have a question. We
Next.
believe in rebirth, life after death.
Mm-hmm.
But other religions, there are many other religions who believe there's only one life.
Yes.
How do we correlate the two? There can be only one absolute truth.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, what do you say?
So, if you really take up a very high perspective of Advaita, the Janma, the birth, death, rebirth, all of it are in the realm of Namarupa. All of it belong to the phenomenon called Jagat. And you transcend that phenomenal world to understand the underlying reality, the existence, consciousness, and true happiness, then all of it can be called as phenomenon. So different way of looking at the same Jagat. There is a Sanatana Dharma Hindu conception of this Jagat. There is an Islamic conception of this Jagat. There is a Christian conception of this Jagat. In this perspective of Advaita, we don't have any problem. Whatever model you want to use. So Jagat is such an entity. You can have multiple explanations. So avirodha. So there is no virodha for any of it. But then having said that, you got to also approach the whole journey from a particular standpoint. If you want to reach point B, then you have to start from point A. So point A, you fix the coordinates just like when you open the Google map. It shows where you are. So you locate where you are. So I am located in the Hindu conception of the Jagat. Thus, I look upon this whole Jagat, my conception of the world, to have birth, rebirth at the Vyavaharika realm, at this realm. So I fix certain coordinates and then start inquiring upon the journey. So that's how it works. So we are not here fixating, this is untrue, that is untrue. At the level of the Jagat, everything is a phenomenon. Did I answer your question?
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Here. Could you please wait for the mic? Can you please pass the mic? No, here. There's a questioner here. After that you can ask. Yeah.
Hari Om.
Hari Om.
I really loved when you were talking about Anubhava. Could you go a little bit more in depth into the description of that and the details of Anubhava and that relationship to our own journey?
So Anubhava, usually people understand or tend to understand Anubhava as some sort of an esoteric spiritual experience. So in Vedanta, is the self-realization or self-knowledge is not looked upon as an esoteric experience. It's not some esoteric experience as such. Then what do we mean by Anubhava when we say, suppose we are analyzing this particular speaker box which is located here. So we look at the manual. It comes with suppose it comes with a manual. And the manual has a description saying that this is a box of this height and this width and this and that. All of it, you're looking at the speaker through this manual. Yes, fine. And then you can use certain logic also. Yes, it says 2 feet height and you bring a scale and measure. It is of 2 feet height. Yes, logically, it's making sense of looking at this speaker from the standpoint of manual and the scales and everything. Finally, if you truly want to understand this speaker, there's a component of Anubhava also. What is that Anubhava? You open your eyes and see it. So, seeing this speaker now is not an esoteric experience. Is just being open to reality, is the direct perception of this reality. Similarly, so Shruti, which are the scriptures, the texts, are giving us guidance about one's own spiritual journey, one's own true nature. And then many logics, yukti means logic, many logical explanations are also suggested, logical paradigms are suggested in order to inquire upon the reality. Finally, through all of this, you come to understand your own true nature. So that is the Anubhava component there. That you are, you know it, isn't it? Are you there now? Yes or no? So now, do you need a text to prove your existence?
Hope not.
Do you need a logic to prove your existence? You're there. So on what basis are you saying that you are there? Anubhava, isn't it so? One's own innate experience. Is it esoteric? No. Is it something special? No. That you are. That you are aware of your presence. And this component is not something esoteric. So Shastra makes you realize that you are based on your own Anubhava, and that you are, what is the nature of what you are is explored to Shastra, and then you yourself come to understand your own true nature. That is the Anubhava component of this whole thing. Not some special experience in the morning meditation, some blue light, green light, or harupulations. No, We are not looking for something special experience. You. Yeah. Okay, we'll continue the questions for tomorrow's session. Yeah. Time is almost done. So I'll take your question tomorrow. Yeah. I'll end the satsang with a short reading from this book called Reflections by the Ganga by Pujya Swamiji, Swami Dayanand Saraswati Ji. I think the book is available in our bookstore. Those who are interested can also purchase a copy. This book is some translation and compilation of some of the writings that Pujya Swamiji had written when he spent 3 or more years on the banks of Ganga in Rishikesh in a hut. That was a period of intense sadhana, period of intense inquiry in Pujya Swamiji's life, and very beautiful, deep writings are there in this particular book. I'll just read a couple of it. On Guru Shishya, page number 11. The disciple first accepts the master with a sense of surrender. Thereafter, he appreciates the master more because of his own growth. And there is a total surrender. And thereafter, there is mutual appreciation and respect. Ultimately, what is left in the place of Guru and Shishya is one akhanda love. Akhanda means one without second, that love. On giving. And it also has a profound element of Advaita. Can you see something and see the seer too? Can you see something and see the seer too? Can you give something and give up the giver too? Can you give something and give up the giver too? That is the ultimate giving. So you give something, and if you retain the sense of giving and that the giver in you, that dhanam is not complete. That dhanam is not profound. So there is still an element of ego there. I am the one who gave this. I am the giver. On a funnier note, this is a real story that somebody told me. So there was a hall, and every year there used to be a big pravachan, sabha, which was going on. And a particular person once, it was summer time, he switched off the fan. And everybody is feeling sweaty and feeling hot, warm. Why? Because the weather is hot. And somebody asked him, hey, why did you switch off the fan in the middle of the discourse? He said, I am the one who donated the fan. My name is written there, written on the fan. How will people know that I have given? So if I switch off for a minute, everybody will look up. What happened to the fan? So my name is seen for a while. And he switches on the fan again, the discourse. What kind of dhanam is it? What kind of giving is this? No. This is the ultimate giving. Can you give something and give up the giver too? Yeah, that's the real dhanam. One last one. as if Swamiji is talking about himself. Prarabdha has its ways. I enjoy the happenings. Perhaps I am to play some important role in the line of traditional teaching. I enjoy myself as the things unfold. Whatever be the future, we will enjoy it. Don't compare Daya with anybody. I'm a simple man, and people also take me lightly. I don't lose. That ends the small piece of writing there. Yeah. We will end today's satsang with a small meditation. It's not really meditation, meditative chant. One verse of Nirvana Shatkam, and then we will close the satsang. Gently close your eyes. Manobudhyahankar chittani naham na cha shrotra jihve na cha grana netre na cha vyoma bhumir na tejo na vayuhu Chidananda Rupaha Shivoham Shivoham Chidananda Rupaha Shivoham Shivoham. End today with contemplativeness, with a contemplative state of mind. You're about to end the day. May you avoid all unnecessary communications after this satsang. Come to terms with a little pause, a little silence, a little rest, to deeply appreciate your own true nature. Join me in chanting Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah for the goodness and welfare of each and every one in the world. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah Sarve Santu Niramayah Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschit Dukkha Bhag Bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Om Tat Sat. Shubharatri. We will meet for meditation tomorrow morning at 6:55 a.m. here.